Hello everyone and welcome along to the Fuji International Speedway. It is a stunning day to go racing here in the heartland of Japan for rounds 5 and 6 of the Fanatec GT World Challenge powered by AWS here in Asia. And just behind those clouds, overlooking the circuit, is 3,700 meter high Mount Fuji, which serves as our backdrop here for a circuit that has hosted WEC and Formula One a few years ago, where it's very much the center of our calendar, with 3 more rounds remaining in the Fanatec GT World Challenge series, and 2 of those also with the newly formed Japan Cup. The Japan Cup race comes later on today. We are focusing on Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia for our first of 2 one-hour encounters. The first today, but tomorrow maybe in a little bit wet conditions if the forecast is correct. It really is incredibly picturesque here in Fuji, a mountainous region near Gotemba, which is the nearest town.
49 GT cars, the greatest number ever assembled in Asia, are here at Fuji Speedway this weekend for the inaugural SRO GT Power Tour event.
ジャパンカップとファナテック GT アジアは昨年までは1つのレースとして行われ、去年の富士大会では40台のエントリーを集めました。今年からは2つのシリーズへと分かれ、別々の予選と決勝が行われます。
All 33 of Fanatec GT Asia's full-season entries will contest rounds 5 and 6 of the Continental Series, while Japan Cup, which staged its season opener at Sugo 2 weeks ago, counts 16 cars amongst its multi-class list.
2つのシリーズを合わせて41台の GT3 マシンが参戦。昨年の台数よりも1台多いと同時に、アジアでは過去最大のエントリー台数です。さらに11メーカーが集まっているのは、世界的にも類を見ないバラエティ豊かなグリッドになっています。
But Fuji's not just about big numbers. The talent behind the wheel is also world class, thanks to a mix of global factory stars and Asia's top GT drivers. 2 wins in the last 3 races sees Liu Wei top Fanatec GT Asia's early standings from Frankie Cheng and Adelaide Fong, who are one of just 2 crews to have scored points in all 4 races held so far. The other comprises Yuanbo and Liu Yi Hongli, who lie a point further back in 3rd overall and lead the Silver Ram class. Liu has won with both Lauren Heinrich and Patrick Pilet, and it's the latter who's on duty with Origin here at Fuji, where he's joined by Porsche factory colleagues Alessio Picarillo, Jackson Evans and Joel Eriksson. Not to be outgunned, Mercedes-AMG has sent 3 of its very fastest drivers. Luca Stoltz was a winner here last year, Mara Engel needs no introduction, and Jules Gounon finally makes his first appearance since 2017. Of the leading local entries, Goji Guns Nissan equalled its best ever result in Thailand, where Yu Kanemaru in Hirabon finished 2nd overall. Meanwhile, Satoshi Hoshino has hot-footed it back from Le Mans to race D-Station's Aston Martin. Fuji sees the return of 2022 race winner Kyoto Fujinami, who has joined Porsche Center Okazaki. And there's also Japanese interest in the AM class, where Hiroshi Hamaguchi and Maneki Akura lie 2nd behind David Tieptan Biantoro.
一方ジャパンカップはスポーツランドス号で開幕し、ビンゴレーシングのコルベットが2連勝を飾りました。昨年の富士大会でも優勝したビンゴですが、今週末は笹原右京選手のスーパーフォーミュラ参戦によりアムクラスからの参戦となります。これにより K チューンズレーシングのレクサスとフェラーリだけがプロアーマクラスに参戦することになり、総合優勝を狙います。98号車はス号で2度の表彰台を獲得したから優勝候補と言えるでしょう。 GT4 クラスでは50号車 YZ レーシングの BMW と39号車 TGR インドネシアがス号大会で優勝を飾りました。今大会からは64号車 JBR が参戦し、合計7台のマシンが GT4 クラスにエントリーします。GT3 クラスにも新たに81号車の GTR が参戦。また83号車のポルシェはジャパンカップ唯一の GTC クラスの参戦マシンとなります。
A reminder that both qualifying sessions and all 4 races are live on SRO's GT World YouTube channel this Saturday and Sunday.
J スポーツでは日本語の実況解説付きで同じく生中継でお楽しみいただけます。
11 manufacturers represented here in Fuji, the greatest number ever seen on an SRO grid, with 49 cars in total. And to see this spectacle is our big boss, Stefan Rattel, with Amy down on the grid.
From this festive, massive grid, and look who I have found here, Stefan Rattel. Stefan, look at this crowd, it's huge, and you must have a festive feeling as well.
I'm very pleased. It's my first visit to the championship in Asia this year, and I'm of course delighted with the growth. It's the diversity of cars, of nationalities, so many different Asian drivers and Asian team from China, from Japan, from Indonesia, and even from Australia here, Korea, and all of it. It's really encouraging, and the championship continues to grow.
Indeed, it is a full grid, and also there is the Independent Japan Cup. How do you see that growing?
Oh, I think it's a very good, very good concept. We had the China Cup, the Japanese Cup, and it's the way to grow a grid and for many drivers to compete for something. When you have a very, very large grid, you could have the feeling you just make up numbers. So if you have different cups, everybody competes for something, and it's that's the idea behind it.
So it is very, to represent this biggest GT race in Asia is just such a great feeling. What are you looking forward to this weekend?
No, what we wanted was to have really this Pan-Asian championship, and we want what we had for the first two events. We have close racing and something enjoyable for the fan and for the drivers as well.
Let's enjoy some heat on the track then.
Yes, we'll enjoy the race.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful to have Stefan Rattel with us this weekend to witness this huge field of cars. It's not to say that it won't continue to grow as well. 49 seems just too close to 50 not to try and improve that for the rest of the season. Japan Cup joining Fanatec GT World Challenge, also in Suzuka and Okayama before the championship rounds out in China. Here is the circuit, 4.5 kilometers in length, with that 1.4 kilometer straight from turn 16 down to turn 1. Reprofiled in the early 1990s from the original circuit used by the World Sports Car Championship in the 1980s. Of course, it's the home of Japanese motorsport, endurance motorsport, thanks to its ownership with Toyota, and that has seen WEC join this circuit, or use this circuit as its Japanese base. Let's go back down to the grids with Amy, and she's got our pole sitters for this one, the 888.
With the pole sitter, so Prince Abubakar, starting on this position on this iconic track, are you nervous at all?
No, I mean, we had a few race starts already, so no, I'm not feeling nervous, but hopefully it'll be a clean race.
So how is the possibility on getting pole to win?
I mean, we never know what might happen in the race, but hopefully it'll turn out that way.
I'm rooting for you guys. All the best luck.
Very chilled in his 888 Mercedes that he knows so well, that he's campaigned over the last couple of years. And for the most part also had Lucas Stoltz alongside him, a car that was on pole and took victory here last year, on pole last time out, and has pole for both of our races, which I think are going to be very different in character, because race 1, as we have right now, in lovely weather conditions, if a bit cloudier than we saw this morning when we came into the circuit. Certainly it was very blue sky when we came to Fuji this morning, but it feels as though it's slightly clouding over, and we are expecting rain to commence this evening and roll through the whole of Sunday. It's not the completely rare to have rain here in Fuji. Go back down to Amy on the grid. She now has our championship leader. They've taken 2 victories this season. Can they make it a third here?
Wei Liu, starting this position, second row as a championship leader. You must have a lot of pressure on your shoulder.
No, actually, today my main job is helping my teammate, because I have 15 seconds penalty from last race winning, right? So just hopefully my teammate can get a good position, and I just bring the car back to my my teammates. So yeah, all good. I have no pressure today.
All right. Then I wish you good teamwork and all the best luck in the race.
All right, thanks.
The success ballast, as we have in this championship, 15 seconds victory last time out for the number 4, 10 for second and 5 for third position. That is in the pits, so when that car, number 4, comes into the pits, it will stay 15 seconds longer than the cars that have no success ballast. And it's a huge amount, especially if we have a safety car in the first part of the race, which bunches the field up. It can make life quite difficult for the second driver. Second drivers, of course, in this one, the more experienced of the partnerships. That's in the Silver AM and the Pro Am. If you are an AM or a Silver, you have flexibility in who starts the car and who jumps in second. In the 911, it is going to be, according to that graphic, Tana Sathantirikul starting the car. I'm not entirely sure whether that's correct, though, because it was Ishan Pierres who qualified the car in qualifying 1, and therefore I'm pretty sure, yes, the start grid confirms that it will be Ishan who starts that car, not Tanat. Number 44 has a onboard camera for us, right in the middle of the pack. Actually, not in the middle of the pack, down in row 16, just in front, outside my window. So that's a rather disappointing start for Mingwang Han. And the clouds are cleared around Mount Fuji, so it can get a good view of the start of this one. And the new Mount Fuji, or the new Fuji Circuit Hotel in the foreground as well. Just a reminder then, compulsory pit stop to change from one driver to the second. There are a few cars out on the circuit that have just a single driver. Number 3, for instance, is a Mercedes GT3 with Lik Lu from Macau, and he is a single driver entry, which means penalised in the pits, has to stay, I think it's an extra 15 seconds in the pit lane, but has the kind of experience, no, it's 5 seconds, isn't it? Has the kind of experience to then go back out onto circuit, knowing the car and knowing the tyres. Right, let's go down to Amy and the D Station Racing Aston Martin.
はい、藤選手、ルマンから先週戻ってきまして、今週ですかね、お疲れの中、このまたお二人での、GT ワールドチャレンジアジア参戦となりますけど、なんかルマンで掴んで、今日やってくれますかね、星野選手。
昨日の練習ではね、星野選手、すごいタイム速かったんですけど、予選でちょっと待ちすぎちゃって、で出てったところが結構トラフィックで、結局、まともにアタックできないまま終わっちゃったんで、今日はかなり後ろからなんですけど、明日自分のスタートは11番なんで、もうちょっと前なので、明日特にですね、上位いけるように頑張りたいと思ってます。
ルマン凱旋レースとなりますけれども、今、有終の美をラストルマンレース飾って、なんかこう気持ちのあれありましたか、切り替えというか。
そうですね、ルマン、本当にね、完走するのは難しいレースで、星野さんとしてはですね、5回目のチャレンジだったんですけど、2回目の入賞で最後を終えることができたんで、非常に良かったです。はい。
ルマンはお疲れ様でした。そして今週頑張ってください。
ありがとうございます。はい。
So first of all, starting from this position, Hoshino, he kind of had traffic during his qualifying, so it's not really in the position where he wanted to. But he's feeling great coming back from Le Mans, and he has the pace at the moment. The testing was all good, so they're looking forward to the race. And also, he is starting P11 tomorrow, so that's also something where he will be pushing hard to go further to the top. And also the team feels great coming back from Le Mans. Hoshino-san, it was his 5th time, and he was really happy that they finished the 24-hour race and came back here with good memories. Back to you.
Unfortunately though, Satoshi Hoshino announcing that it will be his last Le Mans and has retired from competing at the big race, which is a shame because we really like that D Station Aston Martin. Aston taking 2 hypercars to Le Mans in the future, and therefore they will need some GT3 competition. At the moment, D Station flying the flag for that. Based just around the corner here, you actually drive past their factory on the way to the Fuji circuit. Racing in the Japan Cup as well as this. All cars now rolling. The elegant racing Mercedes of Lic Lui, the last of our cars, and here is the grid. Ibrahim and Frankie Cheng on row 1. Expect that the Audi to be pushing hard on the first couple of laps. Wei Lu and Bob Wan on row 2. Again, another silver car on the inside. James Yu in 6th position is another with Ban Yi alongside. Hiroki Nagai and Tana Satantiriko. It's actually Ethan Perez in the number 8 car. Andre Canard in 9th and Bihuan Zhu in 10th position. Anthony Liu down in 11th spot with House Success Ballast as well. Uchiyama and Wang. Ben Porter in 14th position. Hidebon in 15th, second last time out, so also has Success Ballast. Vitakorn into Puvasak 16th. Jaiton Liang in 17th spot. Cao Kei in 18th and Sungjun Sun in 19th. Hamaguchi 20th. Ferrari and Mercedes on row 11. Then it's Mercedes and Aston Martin, the D station, 24th. Hangchang Li and Ru Hang on row 13. Brian Lee and Kei Nashashi. Then Kun Fan Ro and Setuan Santoshi. And Volgas, as we mentioned, with our onboard camera, A&R with VSR joining the GT World Challenge, having raced last time out in the Japan Cup, and that one driver entry of Lic Lui in 13th spot. Cars coming down the start-finish straight here. Lights are out on the safety car. Now it is usually a rolling start, but I didn't get my hands on the driver's briefing notes, but presumably we're getting 2 laps of warm-up. So we've got another lap to get temperature into the car. Just that extra confidence that these bronze drivers need to really be strong going into turn 1. That's a really sensible concept. Lights out on the safety car, however. Nice to see VSR, Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, running the Lamborghinis across the world now. There's Patrick Pilet in the Origin garage, ready to get back aboard the number 4 car that he won last time we went racing in Buriram in Thailand in mid-May. That number 4 car right there, also taking victory in Sepang in race 2 with Lauren Heinrich. And that rhythm, I suppose, once you've got that rhythm with the success ballast of 15 seconds, does make winning race 1 a lot harder, doesn't it? That success ballast then cleared. Ah, now we've lost the 888. And there it is in the pits. Looking at the left front corner, they've got the fire extinguisher out. Have they got a brake problem? Prince Taka Ibrahim bringing the Mercedes in, and this isn't a problem with the tyre. They're looking, somehow he's overheated the brake by the looks of things, and they've got a brake fire, but they're not spraying the brake itself, are they? They almost look as though they're spraying the brake duct. Now, we haven't gone racing yet, so this is not a no, it is a racing lap because the time has started. So he is going to drop a lap down, I believe. If this is counted as a racing lap, then that is a disaster for the 888. I can't believe it. And there doesn't seem to be any rush to go out onto circuit. Oh, Lord! What a disaster for 888 JMR. So then, we start this race without the pole sitter. Everybody needs to stay in their boxes. So it's very, very easy in this situation for the second row on one side to push forward, because Wei Lu, for instance, has a clean track ahead of him. So, but he still needs to stay beside that Porsche and leave Frankie Chen on his own on the front row. If he's deemed to be too far ahead of the Porsche Bob 1, then that would be a jump start. And look, oh, he is hanging back. The Toyota Supra safety car staying out ahead of them, and still staying out ahead of them. At some point he's going to pull across. There we go, clears the circuit. And this is really difficult for Wei Lu not to creep forward. Bob 1 trying to give them a penalty by hanging back. But I would say he's doing a good job of respecting the gap. And now everybody closes up. We wait for the green lights to go. There's still, very, very late call. And there was an Audi that absolutely, I think, nearly jumped the start there. And absolutely under investigation, the race start there, because they were held for a hugely long time. I'm thinking that was James Yu, who was a little bit hesitant, well, a little bit preemptive with his start, and then got out the throttle and has actually kind of dropped back a little bit in that Audi with the yellow stripes. We're now racing. Frankie Chen has the lead of the race. Everyone clean, although it looked like the Porsche Center Okazaki car was off in the background at turn 1. I may be wrong. But certainly a bit of a mess to get our race going again. Yes, Nagai is off. So from 7th position, Hiroaki Nagai at the very, very tail of the field. James Yu did definitely lose a couple of spots as well, started in 6th position, but almost felt like he wanted to go early. Plenty of sorting out going on further back. Number 13, Phantom Global Racing, that Jackson Evans has got right on the sharp end of race 1. Yingzhu Sun driving that car for stint 1 here. And who was the big mover then? BMW 89, massive start for them. But Nagai and Liang, 2 cars that have really, really lost out. Liang is the 77 Ferrari of Harmony Racing. I expect to see that car moving up through the field. At the head of the field though, Bob Wan putting pressure on Frankie Chen right now. Chen is a silver driver, Bob Wan is the bronze. Here's another replay at the start, and we are waiting for the green flag. There is James Yu trying to go once, then he tries to go again. We haven't quite got the lights in frame there, but I think he went early, then backed out of it and lost momentum. Now look in the middle of the pack. The Porsche Center Oziaka is, so there's James pulling to the middle. It's difficult to see. Yeah, he's trying to shut the door on the number 4 and then gets out of it and drops right into the back of the pack. If we stay with this shot, we might see what happened to the Porsche in the middle there. Oh, we just cut away before. Looked like he may have got pinched on the apex there. We've got a Lamborghini slow. That's A&R with VSR. Over the line for another time. It's just 0.4 of a second between Chen and Wan. That's gone out to 0.7 of a second now. And I hadn't noticed, but up into 3rd position has come Ishan Perez, the Sri Lankan driver, now under pressure from James Yu, who's up to 4th, which means down a position is the number 4 of Wei Lu. Here is James Yu all over the back of the Sri Lankan. Different colours for the Absolute Racing 911 this year from what they had last year. James looks to the inside, just a bit too far back to make a move there. But he wants to get on with things here, you sense. Bob Wan doing a really good job of staying with this silver class battle, as you would expect in this early running, where you've got all the bronze drivers. It's the silver drivers who rise to the top, and James Yu sticks his nose in. It's a difficult place to overtake this chicane, though, because the last part, the last right-hand, it is an acceleration zone, really. And you just need to dive down the inside. A block pass is what you need there. Get the car fully alongside and stop the guy on your outside from claiming the apex. Pieris going a little bit wide through the penultimate turns. And now onto the throttle. Big long pit straight, 1.4 kilometers in length, just under a mile. They are investigating James Yu for a possible jump start. In the end, he did go early, but I feel he still lost out on the brakes into turn one. Claims the apex, runs a little bit wide, but was hold himself enough on the brakes into turn one to stop the 911 from claiming the inside line there. Nice move from James Yu. As long as you've got track position, it doesn't matter where the other car is. And the other car was in the diffuser. Let's have a look again. This bit was good. Then James, you can see how the car was twitching. He was absolutely on the limit, but he managed to park it on the apex, and I think Ishan wanted to get on with it, get on the throttle, because he was on a different line, so he had the momentum. But ultimately, around a lap, James Yu is the faster. Checks out now and looks up the road to Bob Wan and Frankie Chen. Still just 2/7 of a second separating those two guys. So the Lamborghini is moving, but James Yu has been given a drive-through penalty. So even if he sets off up the road to chase down our front two, not good news for the number 41, especially as there are only 4 silver cars. And we've got silver class car in the lead in 4th. Okay, the other one is down in 21st position, the number 77, after having some kind of an issue, the Ferrari 296 in the first turn, because Chaitang Liang definitely lost out big style from where they were supposed to start. And James Yu instantly taking that drive-through penalty straight away. So the team got on the radio and told him about it before he even needed to see the board. Back in the old days, before radios, you'd have to go past the start-finishing line to see that you've been given the penalty and then react to it a lap later, but he's reacted to it within a couple of moments. Oh, nice and tight line there from Wei Lu. Thought that might work out, as the 911 just went a little bit wide through turn, I think I'd call it turn 3, but it's probably turn 4. And now down the inside, Wei Lu looks again, has that overlap, but only the slightest overlap, and you need so much more at that chicane to make a move. But you get the sense with an 8.5 second gap to the leading two that Ishan is really the cork in the bottle here, and there's a little queue of cars forming to try and get past. Wei Lu is the next one, and then you have the number 6 VSR of Bian Ye with another Lamborghini of VSR, Bi Huangzhou in 6th position. And then you have Mr. Duck. On board with Ishan Pieris. Clear track ahead of him. That's because our 2 leaders are so far up the road. Oh, a little bit deep, a little bit wide through turn 1 as they disappear down the hill. Lights flash from Wei Lu, who presumably is on the left-hand side. He is, but hasn't got the momentum to find a way through turn 2. This is where he did it last time, but somewhere he's been slightly compromised. Look at the line he can take. A tight line versus Ishan, who's running out wide through that turn 3. Asking less of the tyre, of course, but having to cover more distance. Waiting for James Yu to come over the start line after his drive-through. He has now in 30th position. So that really was a very, very costly error. We have lost 2 cars, I believe, although I've only got page 1 on my timing screen. But certainly the number 18 car is missing from timing. We've also got, behind James, we've also got the number 88 car, which is Craft Bamboo's Jeffrey Lee, down in 32nd position. And I don't see it on my graphic, so I'd say that's a car missing as well. Effectively, James Yu has come out as the very last car on circuit, other than Climax Racing's 52. That's another car well out of position. In fact, they're going to catch him soon. Side by side, another attempt from Wei Lu, but he's on the wrong part of the circuit. There might have been a bit of contact there going into turn 2. And Lu is getting frustrated here, isn't he? On the lights, holds that inside line once again, but it isn't doing anything for him other than perhaps helping the front aero not be too distracted, or not be too disconnected, thanks to the wash from the car ahead. There's so much dirty air coming off that big diffuser, the rear wing as well, and that won't be working particularly well with all the aero on the front end of the number 4. So to hold that inside line probably gives him a little bit more bite on the front end too. Now, there's a suggestion that there's been contact between the EBM Aston Martin, which runs down in 28th position, and the Lamborghini 563, which is at the very tail of our field. Maybe that was why the Lamborghini was running slow. Now, the attacker is the 6 Lamborghini, isn't it? Biagnier, really close to the rear of Lu Wei. Lu Wei goes defensive, and therefore no way through, but he also goes deep into turn 1. Surely that's going to give him an overlap. It does, and here comes the Lamborghini into 4th position. Really, really good move. That's how you do an overtake into turn 1. You've got to get that switchback worked. And now perhaps this Lamborghini has a good chance of getting past Ishan. Biagnier will be handing over to Edo Liberati, one of the very best Lamborghini drivers in the world. And they're looking, staring at 3rd position right now. And the more they hang behind the 911, the more cars join this queue. There is our front 2. Bob Wan doing a brilliant job of holding on to Frankie Chen here. Let's not forget that Bob is the AM in the Silver AM collection of drivers. And we've seen this a few times where he's just able to show that he really could be a silver. Doesn't want to be a silver, because that would change the classification of that car. But on a day, he has silver pace. He's going to be handing over to Leo Hongli, who is the silver in that car. And Frankie Chen will be handing over to Adli Fong. 2 very experienced silver multi-class racers, really. And they have 14 seconds of an advantage over this little group. Not quite as deep this time, Ishan Pieris. So no opportunity for the Lamborghini to find a way through on this particular occasion. But yeah, 14 seconds in, what is it, 18 minutes worth of action. Nearly a second faster a lap is our front two to the remaining cars behind. Here we are on board with Pieris. Clear track ahead. Now, how often is he looking in his mirrors? How often is he checking where the guys behind are? Snatches a gear. Oh, lands a little bit deep through the exit of the chicane there. But look, you don't stop turning. You continue to turn right, out of the chicane and into the next turn. And this whole last sector is very much like that. You've always got some kind of a lock on the car. And actually, on this last lap, Ishan seems to have won himself a little bit of a gap. Joining the party, champion from last year, Anthony Liu, now with Absolute Racing in the Porsche 911. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth car in shot there. Same colours as he ran to championship victory last year, but that was, of course, in a Craft Bamboo Mercedes. And then we've got Canard and Porter, best of our AM drivers, up in 9th position in this group of cars. In fact, the last car in the group is Ben Porter. Second in silver AM, the 296 Absolute Corsa of Andre Canard from the Philippines. Also in this little battle pack. And within this battle pack, there is a few penalties to be given, or not penalties, but success ballast. Third position last time out for Anthony Liu, so that car will get a 5-second hold in its pits. Therefore, will drop out of this. And of course, the number 4 we heard on the grid has a 15-second hold. And that's kind of why Lu Wei needs to work a bit harder than this. Oh, spinner! Anthony Liu spun from that group. Did he get collected by anybody? Just caught the car going around. There he is, and there was another car facing the wrong direction. I think that is a Ferrari. I think that might be Absolute Corsa, the 296. It is. And has that car got damage? It looked like it was kind of bobbling oddly. But two cars, just as we were talking about, the frustration starting to creep in. Canard and Liu getting together. Now just 3. Lu Wei doesn't have to worry about what's going on in his mirrors any longer. He can completely focus on attacking, but that Porsche just looks strong in all the right places. Just enough of momentum, just enough of an advantage to stay ahead of the Lamborghini, to stay ahead of the Porsche. It'll be Tanat Sathentirikul taking over the 911. Liberati will take over the 6. And Patrick Pilet in the 4. Back with our leaders, Frankie Chen. Oh, we've got a back marker ahead of them. So this is the 52 that was involved in an incident, I think, earlier on. Pulling over to the right-hand side and getting on the brakes. Getting on the brakes to go in the pits? No, just getting on the brakes to allow the leaders plenty of room down the start and finish straight. It can be disconcerting when a car goes on the brakes on a straight, but I can see what he's doing there, because otherwise he would have been at the same speed as the leaders going into turn 1. So sensible driving from Hang Chang Liu. And those two now 18.5 seconds ahead of these three. The battle for third seems to be a little bit more spaced out. Plenty of action going on at the top of shot, isn't there? Defending and weaving and all kinds of stuff. Down the inside goes the number 40 of Ruhang and claims the position from the 22 of Zhongwei Wang. Zhongwei was doing his very best to defend left and right. And that's the 22 car that's going to be handed over to Jules Gounon for the second half of this race. So that is one very much to watch. Right now it's in 11th position and another dive down the inside. A bit of contact and round he goes. It was always going to be very optimistic. And was only half an overlap. I doubt there's too much damage. Now we're just going to be careful to rejoin correctly. But that's given Jules even more work to do. Let's have a look again. You can see what he's trying to do here. He just needed to go down a little bit tighter to the apex, but he kind of had outbraked himself as well. So the two of them were giving the apex plenty of space and the tiniest of touches. Penalty for Nagai, number 18, for causing a collision. I can only imagine that's from at the start of the race, because he's now in 21st position, the number 18 car. Nice work from the TV guy to pick him up. Oh, he's gone again. And they were at the very, very tail end of the field after lap one. There's the number 19 and its race progression. So slowly inheriting positions. Actually noticing that number 89 and the number 22 lost positions in that contact. And just outside my window comes the number 18 to serve its penalty. We are very shortly going to open the pit window. And for so many of these cars, that will be the time as soon as possible to get your driver out. For anyone who's a Silver Am or a Pro Am, you want the Silver or the Pro to maximize the amount of time. And so let's see if Bob Wan reacts now. The window is open. He's been with Frankie Chen for the whole of this race, and he's done a very, very good job. But Bob Wan now brings his car down pit lane, and he will be handing it over to the Silver driver of Liu Hong Li to take up that fight in the second half of the race. Staying out, Ishan Pieris, but Biyang Ye and Wei Lu come into the pits. We've also got the 63 car in as well. Biyang Zhu comes in, and as I said, so many trying to get the service done. In theory, the length in the pits should be equal between everybody other than the 500, the 1 and the 4 for the success balance that they had from last race. So that is going to drop the number 4 down quite heavily down the field, I reckon. Coming into the pits, 27 seconds back from our leaders. Yeah, so he's going to be outside the top 15. Lots of work for Patrick Pilet to do in the second half of the race. Frankie Chen, though, continues with clear track ahead of him. In comes the Aston Martin. That has already had one pit stop for a penalty. Setuan Santosho. He's a single driver entry, so he's going to be getting out the car, running around it, and getting back in again. And this is the moment where it's very, very difficult to know what's going on because so many have made their pit stops. Some are staying out on circuit. The silver cars are the ones that are staying out, although in third position, the 911, here he is coming down pit lane now to hand over to Tanar Sathatirikul. And the 500 also in pits. Now this car will stay 10 seconds longer in pit lane because of its success last time out in Buriram. It's also under investigation for contact. And what a great feeling once you press the pit lane speed limiter off and the car fires itself back into the race. See him go to work in changing tyres on the 911. And now it's a race between 87 and 36. Still no pit visit for Frankie Chen in the 36. He's still got 6 minutes to do so, so there is no rush. But whilst they're on separate parts of the circuit, this is the opportunity for 87 of Leo Hongli to put down some fast laps and try and jump this car, the 36, now in pit lane. Frankie Chen handing over to Adley Fong. As a silver car, certainly a car that you would expect. A bit of smoke going on behind the 36. I wonder if that's just brake dust. Here is the 87 though. Still halfway around the lap. Full service now done. Still got a couple of cars not pitted yet. Ben Porter in the number 51 goes over the line to lead a lap as an AM. I think he's going to be waiting until the very end of the stint before he hands over. And Lik Liu in the number 3 hasn't pitted, but then we wouldn't expect him to, as he can do it whenever he wants as a single driver entry. Out the final turn then comes the 87. What's the pace been like over the last couple of laps? And where is 36 Audi? There is the 36 on the left-hand side, but this start-finish straight is just so very long. Now getting up to speed, it's going to be pretty close between the two of them, and I reckon with the tyres that the 87's got, he's going to have the traction out of turn 1 and grabs the lead of the race. Great laps from Leo Hongli, and that is going to put a smile on the Origin Motorsports face. He's also got the confidence in that car to push already, where Adley Fong still has to build up. He still has to find what he's got underneath him. And that is absolutely great work from Leo Hongli. Now they really have a chance of an overall victory. They were on the podium overall in Sepang in race 1. And actually sit third in the championship overall because they've consistently scored good points. But this could be one step better. Adley Fong, though, has been in this position before. Sometimes being the chased is not as comfortable as doing the chasing. But I wonder whether Adley Fong is equal to Leo Hongli. A couple of podiums last year, Leo Hongli and Bob Wan. But have they ever taken victory at all? Look at this. Plenty of physicality in the middle of the pack as some of these faster drivers now try to make their way through. This is actually the battle for the kind of kind of lead, kind of not, because that 51 car is our leader, would you? And making short work of Ben Porter is the 87. And I was wondering whether he was going to go in the pits, but he's not. Not entirely sure what the 77's doing there, because actually that Ferrari is a lap down. Oh, this is about, okay, so we're actually looking at a battle for 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, aren't we? But for some reason, the 51, which has now picked up damage and loses the whole of the front right corner of the Porsche, is in that battle too. Picarello trying to find a way past Engel, and that's for 10th spot. And suddenly you can see how differently they race when they're pros, can't you? Elbows are properly out here. Again, another big squeeze from Picarello on Maro Engel. Presumably Patrick Pilet is well up the road from this. Yeah, he is. Oh, very, very deep from Picarello. It's hard to get past here. The number 40 is Marcus Winkelhock. And now Engel down the inside into the final turn. There's a little bit more contact between the two of them. Picarello has to run off the circuit. Where does Engel go here? The two of them side by side by side by side. And still, as they go through the final turn, side by side. What a spectator sport for Kai Lulu to be watching here in the 77 Ferrari. Very confused as to what he was doing there, but actually they are having a fantastic tussle over 10th spot. Meanwhile, Patrick Pilet up the road are clear of it, and he'll be very happy when he watches the replay to be clear of this. Three of the very best drivers in the world in GT3 properly going at it. And here comes Marcus Winkelhock. Thank you very much to those two for being so physical about it. It's going to open the door for Winkelhock to join. They're still side by side. This is fantastic, and I don't think there's been that much contact between the two of them. Picarello, part Italian, part Belgian apparently now, shuts the door properly on Maro Engel. Zero space for Engel to get through, but when you're offline like that so much, when you're fighting so much, you're just off the pace, and they're losing bundles of time to Patrick Pilet up the road. They lost 3 seconds on that last lap. Oh, we go full course yellow. Pit lane is now shut, and so race control are going full course yellow. Presumably that's to clear away the bit of car from the 51. Now my timing screen says that 51 is still leading. It was still leading, but is in the pits. So is it in the pits under full course yellow? And if so, it is going to benefit beautifully from everyone going slowly. So this is now the race leader. It will be the race leader once he gets to the start and finishing line. And he's got 13 seconds of advantage over Adley Fong. He grew that advantage. What an amazing couple of laps. Leo Hongli doing a great job. Now the 51 has come in and they're going to try and repair the front of that car, which is, that's a shame. I thought they might carry on. Now I think you have to go a very, very, very long way back in the history of the GT World Challenge Asia to see a victory for Bob Wang and Leo Hongli. Shanghai 2019. They did take overall victory in Shanghai in 2019. They kind of patched it up, didn't they? I mean, it still looks a bit like a single-seater on one corner. And Andrew McPherson now takes that car out on the circuit, and he's going to be still think he's going to be pretty well up, even though they've taken quite a long time to get that car serviced, because pretty sure Jules Gounod is behind them on the road, and that's 15th spot. Right, green flag, we're going back to racing conditions. We've picked up the bodywork from the 51 car. And this is your leader. Of course, that 13 seconds advantage was timed during full course yellow, so it isn't quite as big as that. It's like I haven't done this for a while. Drive-through penalty for car 22 for track limits. Wow, so Jules Gounod is going to be brought into the pits. It's not Jules Gounod who's presumably being punished there. It's his teammate. But Gounod up in 15th spot. It's going to have even more work to do. Right, let's check in with where we're at, because now we've got all the pit stops, we can work it out. 87 is our leader, and that is Liu Hongli. Adli Fong is in second spot, 9.3 back. And then this is the battle for third now, because Tanart Sathan-Tibrikul has dropped behind both Lamborghinis. Edo Liberati and Marco Mappelli, both Works Lamborghini drivers. And a very late defense from Edo Liberati, managed to keep the car from squirming underneath him. Joel Eriksson in the 93 has well up now in 6th position, just at the back of that shot, on the tail of Tanart Sathan-Tibrikul. And then the next battle pack is, I think, a change actually. So we go on board with Tanart. Patrick Pilet up to 7th position now, and he's chasing down these two Porsches. So we've got 911 ahead of 93, and then it's the 4. There's a Mercedes in the way, and I think that's what was confusing me. I think that Mercedes is a lap down, because there's no Mercedes that should be there. Actually, the Liberati and Mappelli Lamborghinis are being kept honest by the two Porsches, or Sathan-Tibrikul and Eriksson. Oh, is that the 36 going slow? Is that Adli Fong with a problem? He's not going at full speed. He doesn't look like he's heading towards the pits. But that promotes Liberati and Mappelli up positions. Fong is still on the track. He hasn't pulled the car into pit lane, so he doesn't think it's a terminal problem. But why does nobody want to lead this race? We had Prince Ibrahim retire before the start of the race from the lead, with what looked to be a brake problem on his Mercedes, and Adli Fong is not going to get this car back to the pits. It's kind of shuddering as he tries to select a new gear, and he is tumbling down the order. What a shame. Now, that has given an absolutely mammoth lead to Liu Hongli. 26 seconds as the two Lamborghinis get up underneath the Aston Martin, which is going to be put a lap down here. Mappelli, Liberati, both VSR Lamborghinis, famous green livery. And there is the race leader. Now let's go down to the pit lane and chat with Amy.
With the race leader here, Bob, you did a great stint. Good racing out there. There's so much action on track, and also now looking behind, it kind of slowed down, so you have quite a big gap at the moment. Looking quite good so far.
Yeah, today we have the good race start, and yeah, I just followed the Audi, the Frankie, so I didn't take any risk. I think I'm a little bit fast because we fuck up the quality strategy, so we are quite slow and the quality. But during the race, I find the pace. So yeah, but I keep safety to bring the car back to Leo. Yeah, then right now he's fighting with the championship, so I'm happy with that.
I was about to ask you about the championship because we're, going towards the half of the championship, and you are P3 right now. This win will give you a lot of heads up.
The race didn't finish yet, so I don't know the result, but I'm looking forward, and just make the race, good result, race by race. I think just like this, I don't think about too much. That's it.
Hope to see you on the podium then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope they're on the top step, Amy, with a 25-second advantage. Toes and fingers crossed for these two, because they have a mammoth lead. It was a great strategy from Bob Wan, you have to say, sticking with Frankie Chen for that first stint. Unlucky, of course, for the 36 to have the problem that they seem to be, they seem to have fixed it, to be honest. The car's back up to speed, but dropped a huge amount of positions. And now we've got Lamborghini second and third. Now you have to really go back to see the kind of success from Lamborghini in GT World Challenge Asia. Always a contender in GT3 racing around the world, but it does very much depend on the teams that run the cars and the dedication that they have to each individual championship. Obviously Lamborghini very popular in Europe, in Italy especially. Marcus Winkelhock, the most gained places so far in this race, chasing down Mauro Engel, but interestingly Piccarello, the fastest man out on circuit in the number one, and he is giving chase to Kondo and Patrick Pilet. He's only 1.2 seconds off Kondo now in the number 25 Porsche. That's the second of the Porsche Center Okazaki. As we now look and ride on board with the 44. Kim Jae-hoon, the Korean driver. Nice and smooth with the wheel. Ahead of him, the Ferrari number 75 of Christian Colombo. Long time Ferrari driver out here in Asia. Saw him in the, I'm sure we saw him in the Ferrari Challenge last year here in Asia. And now part of Garage 75's effort, the Indonesian squad. Ahead of them is the number 60 Wakazaka. It's also gained 11 positions. There's plenty of movement going on here. Here's 911 Sathan Tirakel that has lost a position to Joel Eriksson. So Eriksson now becomes the second best Porsche and third in the Pro-Am Cup. And that was important to do, I think, from Joel Eriksson, because closing on them was Patrick Pilet. Not in a massive rate, to be fair. Patrick's still 3.7 seconds back from these two Porsches. Of course, also in a Porsche. But he will be mindful of what Piccarello's been doing. It's cautious not to be caught. That 75 Ferrari that I was mentioning is now the leading AM, because the 51 Porsche had that long stop to fix the bodywork. And actually the 19 Audi has taken up second position in class. Silverham, 10th spot. 500 with a drive-through penalty, I think. Hence why they're down in 26th position. Yeah, they have. So Kanimura, a long way back from where they would expect it to be. We've had about 4 or 5 cars that have had drive-through penalties over the last couple of laps. And it's all thanks to track limits, turn 15 and at turn 3. The latest decision, the 296 Ferrari, the absolute Corsa run machine, 14th spot also, will now have a drive-through penalty. They get a certain amount of warnings, and if they continue to do it, then they do get themselves a drive-through. And Race Control explained it in the driver's briefing and are now delivering on their promise. Picarello in this number 1. That's run by Absolute Racing. This Porsche run by Origin Motorsport. Now in the hands of Lee Hong Lee. Lee and Bob have raced together for many, many years. As I said, a win at the end of 2019. That's the last time they were on the top step of the overall podium. The gap's now down to 20 seconds. It was 26, but we only have 10 minutes remaining, so however fast Liberati and Mappelli want to be, they're never going to catch that Porsche unless they're assisted by some kind of safety car. Liberati actually putting a little bit of a gap between himself and his Italian compatriot. They'll know each other very, very well from racing around the world. Sometimes teammates, sometimes against each other. And in this kind of racing, absolutely representing the team and their gentleman driver most of all. Mappelli now with the Swiss flag. Sometimes you get your nationality is based on your racing license, your driver's license, or not your driver's license, because that is different to your racing license. Other times it's based on your passport. That's why Picarello is Belgian on our entry list, but is also raced under an Italian flag. Jules Gounon, definitely a Frenchman, but racing under an Andorran flag this year. Long-term resident of Andorra. Patrick Pilet, though, French. Pilet now up to 6th position. He has caught Sathan Tirakel. Lamborghini with gearbox problems last time out in Sugo in the Japan Cup. I'm afraid another retirement for that car. Picarello doing a stellar job here. He's still managing to bang in fastest laps of the race with only 8 minutes remaining. Patrick Pilet ahead. Tanat Sathan Tirakel ahead of Pilet, though I think that might be an Aston Martin back marker that we can see directly ahead. There is the 25. Okazaki entered machine, the second of the two. First one, being a very naughty boy, down in 21st position now after various penalties, and obviously we saw him off track at turn 1. Everything seems pretty steady at the top of the field. Maro Engel's actually being caught by Marcus Winkelhock. Here the two are coming into turn one. Oh, that's a little bit deep from Maro Engel. Winkelhock not being able to capitalise on it, but it just felt as though he hadn't quite got the car slowed down, the Mercedes. Two different lines. Or was that a mistake from Marcus Winkelhock? Seems like a very odd line to me. Seen Winkelhock in the championship all year. Craft Bamboo, the team running the number 30. Championship winners last year, of course, with Anthony Liu. Engel missed the first round. It was Daniel Morad who was partnered with Chi Kwao Chi. They've also had Fabian Schiller, Maxi Goetz in the other car. Jaden Ojeda takes over that role for this particular race. We get the D station Aston Martin. 777 up to 11th position now. Tomo Fuji. Oh, and side by side, Marcus Winkelhock trying to go round the outside here of Maro Engel. A bold idea. Why not though? Has a bit more momentum, but again finds himself on the outside line. It seems so easy to do that here at Fuji. Very, very close between the two of them. And now this is where we see those two different lines. The Audi running wider, travelling more distance. Don't know whether it's faster. The car looks a bit twitchy to me. I don't know if it's my eyes, but the Audi does seem to be perhaps struggling a little bit with the front end. Car 4 has a drive-through penalty. Oh Lord, that's Patrick Pilet. It's our championship leaders. 6th position, and they are going to plummet down the field with a drive-through. These drive-through penalties for track limits are being dished out. And that's going to hugely affect our order. There it is, the number 4. And a little slipstream being picked up by the one behind, but Patrick Pilet comes into the pits, attacks as hard as he can. The pit limiter, there it is, now trundles down the pit lane at 60 kilometers an hour, handing position after position to cars around him. And I'm not sure that's the end of the track limits. Even Edo Liberati up in 2nd position, being given a black and white flag. So one more track limits infringement from the 6, and it too could get itself a drive-through penalty. We've only got 4 minutes remaining. Liberati does not need to push. I mean, the gap is down to 14 seconds, but he just needs now, absolutely just needs to keep the car on the island. And if I was VSR, I'd be telling Mapelli to stop giving him so much jib, because look how close they are. Also the leader in Pro-Am, let's not forget. Even more impressive, therefore, that they're being led by a silver Am car. And all that work done by Bob Wan in the early stages to stick with with Frankie Chen. Adley Fong has pulled that 36 car off the circuit. Every so often we go to a camera shot where you can see it in the background. Car 60 now with a drive-through penalty. It's down in 16th spot, so that's less of an effect. There is Bob Wan and Leo Hong Lee now aboard. Someone's got a loose splitter. It is the 87. Underneath the 87 car, the floor is now loose and scuffing along the ground. Now, it shouldn't have too much of an effect, but I wonder why that's happened. That's the best of our silver cars, with Tanat Sathentirikul aboard and safe. Akish Nandi down in 12th position, so well ahead. Picarello has got past Sathentirikul now, so up to 5th position for the number 1. That is a very strong second half of the race. It's the leader in AM, as I said earlier, the Garage 75. But Patrick Pilet came out of the pits in 15th spot. Crucially, ahead of Jules Gounon. As the number 60 serves its penalty. 1 minute 36 remaining over the line to begin the final lap. But listen, well, actually, you can see it under the car there. You can see the floor flapping around. As long as it doesn't completely destroy itself and doesn't cause any kind of an issue with ride height regulations post-race. That'll be my other concern, with the floor dropping down like that. Liberati and Mapelli together. Just got to keep it on the island. Just make sure there are 2 wheels in contact with the racetrack at all times for those Lamborghinis. Clearing the traffic, clearing the 51. One-time leader of the race, if you remember. Slightly artificially, because they hadn't pitted and everyone else had, but it's the closest battle on circuit, and I'm not really sure whether it's particularly a battle. The main concern is whether there are any track limits infringements still kind of pending. Yeah, the diffuser is loose on the right-hand side, isn't it? It's not causing too much of an issue. You can see it flapping around. But as long as race control understand and the stewards understand that that is damage rather than anything else, it is going to be a victory for Bob Wan and Liu Honli. The first for them since 2019. And what a drive it was, ahead of silvers, ahead of Pro-Am category cars. The Silver-Am pairing have done it here in Fuji in race 1, ahead of 2 Lamborghinis. Edoardo Liberati and Marco Mapelli take those 2 over the line. It's Liberati and Biagnier who take the Pro-Am victory. Silver victory going to Sathentirikul and Ishan Pieris. And we wait for the best of, the second best silver will be Akish Nandi, just at the top of shot there. Here is the best of the AMs. Clear, well clear ahead of the rest. Christian Colombo from Italy and his Indonesian teammate. Checkered flag flies for them. And they take the AM victory ahead of the spirit of FFF Racing, of Mini Okura in the Audi R8 just behind. Plenty of penalties dished out for these pro drivers to have to deal with. Jules Gounon and his team only ending up in 17th position. Patrick Pilet in the number 4 only 14th by the end. Jackson Evans 13th. Engel and Winkelhock. In the end, it went the way of Winkelhock. 8th position, Engel 19th spot. But all those star names are joined by these 2, Bob Wan and Liu Honli. Winners in Silver-Am, but most importantly, winners overall. The gap just 8.9 seconds in the end between the 87 and the number 6. It started off as 26 seconds during the full course yellow. And great pace from Liberati and Mapelli, but there was just no way that they were going to close up that gap after the first part of the race. The AMs were just too far off. Big shout out to Alessio Piccarello for getting himself up into 5th position by the end. A really strong drive after Anthony Liu was put into a part spin. But celebrations down in Parc Ferme. Leo Hongli has done it. Quick look from Leo at the rear diffuser. Would have cost him quite a bit, that rear end downforce. It's created by that diffuser that sucks the car to the ground. Without it, with that kind of flapping around, you get an instability for sure. Leo Yi and Bob Wan are your victors here in race 1 in Fuji. And there are the two teammates. What's 2019? 5 years ago? It's not quite 5 years ago because it was the end of the season then, but what history. Congratulations. I can see Amy down there, cap adorned, so let's go down to her and hear from our victors.
Here we have the overall winners. Fantastic job, Leo. You brought it back home safely. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, especially thanks to my teammates. He did a mega job, give me like really easy job to do on my stint.
It is a Pro-Am winner and also a Pro-Am overall winner. What does that mean to you?
Means we are okay actually. Yeah. Thanks for the teams. Give the quite good car, and I can easily follow the first Audi. So yeah, I finished my stint. Give the Leo. Yeah, Leo definitely can take another Audi. So yeah, we got the champion. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Fantastic job. Leo, I'm not pretty sure yet, but provisional, probably you're leading the championship now.
Yeah, probably, but it's still early. It's only less than 3 races down, so anything can happen. Yeah.
All right, you still have a race tomorrow, so rest well today, but party hard as well. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, confirmation that they are now leading the championship, the 87. But there is, of course, a long way left to go. One more race here in Fuji. Suzuka, Okayama, and finishing in Shanghai. A home race for the Chinese pairing, back on the calendar after a few years, and that will mean a lot, especially as that was where they last won. Incredible fans flocking into pit lane for the pit walkabout earlier on. So much interest. And considering how kind of remote the circuit is in relation to the towns around him. Let's go down to Edo Liberati and the winner of Pro-Am.
Oh my God, there was some racing action going on the track. How was it for you? Congratulations, you're our Pro-Am winner.
Yeah, it was a good race. Starting from Bian, he did a very, very strong stint. He overtook few cars at the start, and he had a very good pace. Then when I rejoined, I was able to overtake a Porsche, and that I think it was for P1 in Pro-Am and P2 overall. And then I had a fight with Mapelli on the sister car. It was a nice fight, but at the end we managed to win it. So I'm really happy. Congrats to Bian.
Beautiful racing, and congratulations again.
The win overall, and thanks to VSR and Lamborghini for a great car.
Great, let's see you at the podium.
Absolutely, great work. Edo Liberati knows the car inside out. And he managed to get a second position behind Origin Motorsports Porsche of Bob Wan and Leo Yi. It was Liberati and Biagni in second. Bijan Zhu and Marco Mapelli rounding out the top three. Third in the 93 with Intrapuvasak and Joel Eriksson. Third in Pro-Am. Best of the silver category cars was Ishan Perez and Tanat Sathan-Tirikul. Second in Silver Am, the 25 Porsche Center, Okazaki of Kondo and Uchiyama. And then on that page one is our Am victors in Garage 75 Porsche. It was Christian Colombo who finished the race a minute and 7 down off our winners. Okura and Hamaguchi in the Audi 19, second in Am. And the Australia pairing recovering to get third in Am, Will Porter and Andrew McPherson, after damage to the front of that car. Whilst leading the race, let's not forget. We had quite a few retirements, not too many though. 77, the 563, the 36 and the 888. Would you believe our pole car never took the start? That's also the pole car for tomorrow's race as well. Here are the highlights of race one here in Fuji. A jump start from James Yu in the yellow Audi would send him for an early drive-through penalty. And there was a little bit of chaos in the middle of the pack with the number 18 having contact and spinning around. The bronze drivers, there is that contact by the way, with the 563 or Lamborghini, which eventually ended up retiring. A really frenetic battle for third position, but at the head of the field, it was the 36 of Frankie Chen, who led the whole of the first stint, followed closely by Bob Wan. Then pit stops came, get the bronze drivers out, put the pro drivers in. And Adley Fong took over the 36, but almost instantly it seemed there was something wrong. The 87 with Leo Yi inheriting the lead after some really fast laps. There was a couple of laps difference between their pit stops. There was the contact. The 51 AMAC Motorsport Porsche was leading at that point as the only car not to have pitted. Big contact, and it meant that they had to make a long pit stop. This was entertaining, wasn't it? Alessandro Piccarello and Maro Engel going side by side for what seemed like an eternity. 3 or 4 laps worth before finally Piccarello was given some clear air to set about chasing down these two. Liberati and Mapelli in the 2 Lamborghinis, lapping very, very fast, but the gap was just too big. Leo Yi had up to 25 seconds at one point and came over the line to take the checkered flag to win for the first time since 2019. Bob Wan and Leo Yi, your overall victories for Origin Motorsports. And with that, the championship lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony for race 1 of the Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS at Fuji International Speedway. We will start the ceremony with the GT3 Silver winners. The winners are car 911, Ishan Perez, Tanat Sathan-Tirikul. And now we invite the overall winners. On third place, car number 63, Zobian and Marco Mapelli.
Trophies being handed out then. The founder of Dixel. And to third position. This is our overall podium, also featuring our Silver Am Pro-Am winners. And the silver winners also joining that podium. With big congratulations to Leo Yi and Bob Wan. Great drive from Bob in the early stages to stick with Frankie Chen. And the gap was enough. Origin Motorsport in the Porsche, the victors, ahead of VSR Lamborghinis. Trying to remember. I think that is the, this year is the first time we've seen VSR in Asia. I don't think we had entries from ASR from VSR last year. No, we didn't.
That's with the photos. Gentlemen, come in front of you. Very well deserved. Great racing out there is champagne time!
So VSR very much getting their feet under the table in GT World Challenge Asia. A second and a third represents their best results so far in the championship. Liberati matching what they were able to do in Sepang for race one, but since then no points scored for Yibian and Edo Liberati. So this a major improvement on those results. No points either for Bian Zhu or Marco Mapelli until today. So that puts Bian Yi and Edo Liberati up into 5th position in our overall championship behind Ruhan Huang and Marcus Winkelhock. Frankie Chen and Adley Fong drop down to 3rd, a non-score here. Drop behind Anthony Liu and Alessio Piccarello. Wei Lu in 2nd spot and leading the championship now by 14 points. Huan Bo and Liu Hongli. It's going to be difficult for Bob Wan to replicate that tomorrow with that success ballast, but you never know what might happen. And now we go into our next podium. And this, the Pro-Am. So Joel Eriksson, we didn't really see too much, certainly in the first part of the race, we didn't see much at all of the 96 car of Vitakorn and Tapuvasak and Joel Eriksson. Podium for the Pro-Ams. The two VSR Lamborghinis that we've already seen on the overall podium, joined by Interpuvasak and Joel Eriksson. Jackson Evans drove that car at the start of the season, and Joel Eriksson was in the other car. So Vitakorn sharing with Joel this time. And it was Joel, who was rather premature with the champagne popping. Next up will be the podium for GT Silver Am. And so we're going to once again see Bob Wan and Leo Yi on that podium.
And now we have the Silver Am Class winners. We welcome with big applause on third place, our number 89, Ron Buffon and Maxime Austin.
Just the one BMW.
On second place, car number 25, Kiyoshi Uchiyama and Tsubasa Kondo. And the winners on first place, car number 87, Bob Wan and Leo Ihan Lee. Now we got you by Mr. Masatomi.
Porsche, BMW on this particular podium. TKRC running the BMW with Maxime Hussein, the silver driver in that car from the Netherlands. Yet another quick Dutch driver. I tell you what, I hope these drivers have got big cupboards, because they will have a lot of trophies by the end of the season. That is absolutely what it's all about. As we heard from Stefan Vettel at the start, you want every single driver out there to battle for something. And that is exactly what SRO Racing does so well.
You have it in front of you. Let's take the champagne and... Okay. Please don't look photos. Turn up. It's... champagne time!
Champagne flies. Usually these drivers are quite well behaved at not spraying each other. Because of course they've got to use these same overalls all over again. One last podium then, and that is for AM. A relatively hard-fought battle if you think back to the leaders. So, you notice how competitive some of these drivers are. They have to get their champagne prepped before anything else. Andrew McPherson has loaded that bottle up so it could go off at any time.
He said yes, I think.
And there it goes.
Oh, I've gone off.
Andrew McPherson having fun on the podium. Great to have the Aussies with us. Of course, Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia, also a very healthy championship, but lovely to have the Australians coming over to Asia and racing in this championship.
Hello, Chris.
The owner of the Bend circuit, recently winning at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. At least Andrew knows how to spray the champagne. He prepared it well, and he sprays it well too. Looking to get themselves a couple of more podium positions up for tomorrow. Well, thank you very much for joining us for the Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia powered by AWS. We have Japan Cup action coming for you in about an hour's time. Make sure you join us.